Hello, I'm TheNerdySteve and welcome to my channel. Today I will be reviewing Transformers 1 in one take. So, let's start. How much do you know about Transformers? Because after watching this movie, I discovered that I knew nothing. I'm saying this because an obvious reveal for you might not have been obvious to me. It's kind of like watching Romeo and Juliet without knowing the ending. I just wanted my ignorance to be noted. Anyway, I had a blast watching Transformers 1. It was funny and dramatic. We follow these two robot friends as they go from working hard shifts in mining energon to becoming important cogs in the fate of their world. If you've listened to me talk about movies before, aesthetics are more important to my appreciation of movies than probably the average moviegoer. That is doubly so for animated films. You're actively choosing a very specific style, so it needs to look good and add to the story. Every shadow or side eye or movement is intentional. I want to emphasize this point because I'm not a huge fan of this style of animation. There's a real uncanny valley effect that kind of turns me off, but despite that, I loved what I was seeing. The composition of shots was consistently compelling. Visually, it had such vibrant contrast of colors and uses of negative space. They weren't just shoving characters on the screen. There was a deliberate heftiness and chaoticness here. For example, there are three chase scenes that occur in a very short time: a cave collapse, a marathon race, and a train heist, and they all feel uniquely interesting. That is so difficult to do successfully. There's also a wonderful buildup of stakes and abilities. Our main characters are so different at the end of the film, emotionally and physically, from who they were at the beginning. The movie feeds us more and more information in a very calculated way. We learn more about who they're fighting and why they're fighting. There is such a larger story going on in the background, and that changes our characters. And there is such a natural progression of their abilities where they slowly and methodically become more and more powerful as the movie reaches its end. So many movies are unable to employ this technique, and here it is flawless. An aspect of this movie I didn't love is that while there is a lot of necessary exposition explaining the lore, I was still a little confused. I understood on the grand scale what was happening, but the more minor details and how some events happened left me a little more puzzled than I would like. Towards the end, one of the characters falls into a crevice and finds something that is very powerful, and I didn't fully get how that happened or what that meant. But part of why that wasn't that big of a deal for me is that I didn't really care. I'm not giving this a free pass, but in this exaggerated Transformers movie, I'm more here for the ride than to break down the intricacies of how thermodynamics might work in this world. This might seem like a silly comparison, but the new Dune movies are surprisingly similar to Transformers 1. I mean, it's kind of a standard story structure of people thrust into a situation that is out of their control, but they all have incredibly complicated histories, factions, and are fighting for a natural resource that they need to survive. Though Transformers 1 doesn't take itself too seriously. Dune needs to describe the minutiae of its political intrigue or the audience is left behind. Its drama is focused on the personal equally as the intergalactic. The world and motives of the characters are built around a very specific logic and order. If the powers of the spice or the sandworm started to perform in unexpected and unprecedented ways, that would make Dune not worth watching. But those moments of logical leaps in Transformers 1 doesn't take you out of the movie because it's more focused on the spectacle of it all. And I was still allowed to be drawn into the more emotional moments and some of the surprising twists that happened, even if I didn't fully grasp the context they were in. I haven't talked about the performances of the cast, and they were phenomenal here. I was laughing throughout the movie, and part of it was how deadpanned some of the jokes were delivered, contrasted with how whimsical others were. The characters all existed on this border of being too over the top, which allows you to enjoy them without getting annoyed. Transformers 1 is freaking fantastic. There are so many cool themes presented here that adds a lot of sophistication that gives it a surprising depth to keep it entertaining for adults, and tons of intense action sequence for the kids and adults too. If this sounds like the type of movie that appeals to you, it is that movie. Go watch it. You'll have a really fun time. I'm the Nerdy Steve, and thank you so much for watching. And as always, like and subscribe and comment below to tell me how right or wrong you think I am. Have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are. Bye.